Well, I got a bit of a conundrum here. I've got to lift the knee up plenty high so they can get it down over the top of the ways, and the problem is there's really nothing on the outside to hook on to, and everything that I want to hook onto or run the strap through on the inside will end up having the strap be in the way when I lower it down onto the top of the elevation screw assembly, so I won't be able to bolt it on. I can't run the strap out of one of these holes in the back because this goes right up against the ways there, and I've got some clearance there, but I'm not sure whether or not, I don't think I'm going to have enough clearance to be able to get away with doing that. So anyways, and then I also had a concern about hooking around this casting on the inside here. I was worried about supporting the whole weight. I remember when I was taking this apart I had a concern about that. Now in retrospect I look at it and I realize that casting's going to be plenty strong because the top of the elevation screw, that round part, bolts to the bottom of that, and then all of the weight of this knee is hanging off of that bracket assembly in there. So that bracket assembly should be plenty strong enough. So what I've done is I've wrapped my strap around twice through that whole bracket assembly so that my strap is going to be short enough so I can get plenty of lift. And then the plan is I'm going to lift it up, get it onto the ways, lower it down so that it's captured by the ways so it can't fall forward, and then put blocking to hold it up in the air. Then I'll remove my strap and just rotate the elevation screw to bring the round part up into position and bolt it in. So we'll see how that works out. Alright, the first question is, when I lift it, is this going to stay level enough? Because I can't have this thing tilted too far one way or the other, or else I'll never get it onto the ways. It's getting ready to fall off the block I've got in the front. Obviously that's not going to work. So what I'm going to have to do now is lower it back down and reposition the strap yet again to see whether or not I can get it. There is a hole in the front area here. I might be able to get the strap to come out that hole, wrap up around the front here, and be pulling from this direction a little bit. That might do it. Oh, like that. It's going to fall off that block now. Let's try that again. Well, it took quite a bit of fudging and fidgeting and repositioning of that strap to finally get it fairly balanced. It's still tilting to the back, but I think I can work with that because I can do this to straighten it out right when I'm trying to line it on up with the ways. So now, alright, before I get it up too much higher, I'm going to make my preparations for moving the whole crane. Oh, it's going to take me a while to screw the screw down. Alright, I got the elevation screw all the way down as far as it'll go. I gotta go grab the jib. Certainly don't want to forget putting that in. Alright, I cleaned up the jib and I just played around with it here, and it took me a couple minutes of figuring it out, kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. but this side that has these zigzag lines is actually the side that's going to be in contact with the way, the dovetail on the way. And then there's a notch at the top right here, and you've actually got the one of these is the adjustment, one of these is the locking. What's nice is the little wheels that are behind here, the little round parts, the one on the bottom's much wider because this just sits on top of that one, and the one on the top actually sits in the slot, so it actually almost clicks in. So you can see right there is where it's supposed to be. Now if I just leave it like that, it runs the risk of falling out. So I'm going to keep that out until the last minute, and then I'm going to pop it in right before I lower it down. Boy, I don't know. I'm wondering whether or not I'm going to get the height that I need. Right now I got so much of this strap right here that I don't know if I'm going to make it. But at that point right there, I've got to go up almost another 12 inches, I think. And I don't think this is going to do it. This thing has a lot more lift than I realized. Getting pretty close now. About 6 more inches. Oh, that's close. I think I got it. Now I gotta get that. Let me reposition the camera. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Just realized you missed the action. But basically, when I got it up really close, I was able to tilt it and just get it on. And now it's just catching the very top edge of the dovetails on the body. So now, hopefully I can have enough room to sneak this in there without hitting the bottom. If I take this little plate on the top here off that covers the access hole for the adjustment screw, I'll be able to see what I'm doing a lot better. So I think I'll do that. It's kind of bugging me that this cap's kind of bent anyways, so taking this off will give me a chance to straighten it out. Now there's some sparf underneath there too. See the bend in that sucker? Toothbrush and a rag. There we go. Ah, come on. I could hold this just right and then have somebody slowly lower that down. I might actually be able to pull this off. But I'm thinking I'm not going to be able to do this by myself. I can't get the alignment right. Alright, I'm going to get a clamp. I'm trying to see if I can clamp that jib in position. Alright, what I did was put this small clamp, C-clamp on here, clamping it and holding that jib in position so it doesn't fall down or fall off. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower that just a smidge and then come back here and try and rock this. Part of the problem is it's tilted back, but actually what seems to be more of a problem right now is the fact that it's tilted this way, which I can't readjust the strap while it's up in the air with all the weight on it. Alright, probably couldn't see that in the video, but I just lowered it about 1/4 of an inch. actually doesn't look like it's in there right. See a big gap in the bottom there. I don't think it's supposed to be there. Yeah, I think that's supposed to be on top of that, like that. Maybe that's how they could fit. I think if this rides on top of that bottom one, then that bottom one must be the one that adjusts the height of it. And then this one must somehow lock it. Well, that doesn't seem to make sense. This has got the groove for that thing to be in. Alright, this certainly isn't the adjustment. This is the lock. So this is what locks it down. So the bottom one's the adjustment. There we go. Just move that wheel downward, which is the wheel that is responsible for there we go. Now it's in. Okay. The jib's in the right position now. I don't know how well this is going to come out on the video, but I just want to turn this around and kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm dealing with, what I was playing around with back here. What you got is you got an Allen head cap screw that sticks up in the bottom here, and that actually raises and lowers a metal collar that the jib sits, the edge of the jib sits on that collar. So as I move that Allen head screw in and out, it's going to move that wheel up and down, which is going to slide the jib up and down in its slot here. Now because the jib is tapered, naturally that's going to affect how tight or loose it wedges, the wedging action is. So that's how you take up the wear. Now on the top here, you've got a second screw. This screw actually controls a collar. It just goes through a collar and then screws in. But what happens is that collar locks into this slot right here. It sits in this notch. So when you tighten this down, that collar is going to push down on the jib. But because this bottom screw, the collar that the bottom of the jib is sitting on, won't let it go anywhere, that is what tightens the jib. So that makes this top one here your locking and your bottom one your adjustment. So this one you just have to loosen up, and then you adjust the bottom one, and then you tighten this when you get done. And I'll go through that whole procedure ad nauseum when I am closer to getting the mill put together. But for now, let's go back to getting this darn knee on. Bottom of the dovetail engaged, but that's before it gets to the jib. The jib's a little bit shorter than the actual slot is. Okay, right there I can see I was watching it go down real slowly, and I watched this side stop suddenly, which tells me that I hit the bottom of the jib. So now I've got to tilt this thing and hopefully get it to slide down. Okay, what happens is when I tilt it up, it moves it out of position, so I've got to actually lower it a little further. Alright, let's try right there. That should do it. So now I got to lower this down. Okay, so what's happening right there is now it's cocked, so it's hanging up. There we go. I gotta go real slow and easy because I don't want it to be crooked. That'll be a good time for some whey oil. Oops. Oh, I just cleaned this thing. Hopefully it'll move a little better now. Alright, I'm going to open this valve just a little bit. I'm going to leave it cracked open. Alright, I can take my C-clamp off at that point. There's certainly no danger of it falling off the machine now. Of course, as I said, my strap is now completely in the way, so I can't attach this. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run this screw back up, and then I'll run this screw back up, get it closer to position. Oh well, I should probably see what I've got for what I'm going to use to hold this thing up. Alright, here's the plan. I'm going to take this 2x3 and I'm going to wedge it in right here. So I've got to bring this down a little further. Alright, I want that as vertical as possible. That looks pretty good. Alright, I just took some of the tension off of that strap, not much. This is rounded in the front here. If I could put this right in the middle, it would sit nicely. But I'm kind of on the edge of where this starts to round, so there's the danger of it kicking out this way. But I can't put it over any further because the strap's in the way, and if the strap wasn't there, well then, quite frankly, I wouldn't have a problem. I've got the knee lock, but you know, the knee lock is not designed to support the weight of the entire knee from going down. But I'm wondering whether or not it might not be a bad idea to just cinch that up anyways. So what I'm going to do is, while I still have this supported partially by the crane, I'm going to get this screw elevated closer to the position it needs to be in, so I can minimize the amount of time that my hands are actually underneath this thing when I take the strap off and it's only supported by this. Oh yeah, that's a heck of a pinch point for your hand in this thing. Jeez. That's a mile away still. Oh, and just like that, we're almost there. Bracket. It's hitting the strap. See if I can rotate the bracket around and get it out of the way. If I get this a little closer, I'd like to. There we go. Okay, at this point here, the gear is just about hitting the strap that's in the way. I'm still about 5 inches below where I need to be coupled, so what I gotta do now is take a leap of faith. Ow. Alright. That should do it. It's high enough now that I can actually put the bolts in, but I'm quitting because it's already 11:30 in the evening and I've got work tomorrow, so I already spent more time than I wanted to down here tonight, but that's the way the cookie crumbles.